Wow.
This is not my mic's not gonna work very well today. And you got my favorite one. It is. You just picked this one. You picked this one.
Well, two in a row.
It's
That's
a new tradition.
out of
I love it.
out of 97 in here, and I picked the same ones. I got the one that I. Gosh! Wow! I hope the third time's a charm.
Usually isn't, but let's go with it. Oh, you've never gotten this one before. Model Co. Lip Lacquer.
Wow.
A little scared.
I would be too, putting lacquer on your lips.
Maybe it's the floor. It doesn't have a color though. It's made in Australia, so that's interesting, right?
Yes. In Aussie land.
In what?
Aussie land.
What's that? What are you saying?
Aussie land. That's what
Kangaroos out there a lot or something? Oh my gosh, look at that.
in Australia, no. Oh yeah, that stuff looks really trick. You should see the stringers on that. Wow, that looks like paint.
See, maybe I was
See-
right. Maybe it was lacquer. The camera's not.
Yeah, it's picking up the strings on there. Yeah.
Like gooey.
Wow.
Do I have to?
Do I have to pick another one?
No, I use it.
You're going to be brave today.
Oh my god, it burnt!
I don't doubt it. That stuff looks scary.
What is Australia doing to us?
Yeah, maybe they're going to. That'll be. Maybe Australia's joining up with the Chinese to take us over, like we're going to talk about here in a bit.
Way to go negative. Alright, we're going on Facebook.
And here we go. It's that funky slide guitar music that comes on every Monday to Friday on IE Newswire, broadcasting on Twitch, Facebook, and
YouTube! Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button and share us all over your world if you would scoot over.
and Scooty. I'm hitting something on that. So, yeah, we're coming to you on a Thoughtful Thursday. You were hesitating a tad, but
I
you
was.
got her
Well,
in
I
there.
realized my mic was off the whole time.
Again, that you got two of them, two buttons you got to turn on there.
Along with the 28 other that I have going on over that way.
This stuff was all
Anyway.
designed by women.
At least we're smart enough to do it on our own.
Booyah!
She's got jokes.
Whoa, here we go. Well,
with me.
all in having fun on the show today. Lots of stuff going on today on that. First thing we're going to start off with is some really exciting. How you ever want to say it? This is what you do when when you're pushing the envelope on stuff. Things happen. They made a SpaceX launch. It was they were going to do a rocket that's going to be that's going to put a vehicle up on Mars, and eventually it's going to be a manned unit, I think. But they made a test run, and they had a little condition with it. So here's it. They launched it up in Texas, where Elon Musk, the founder of SpaceX, has moved out of California. And here's a little bit of video going on as we get it. Here we go. Here you're seeing the rocket descend, coming down. It's doing that. And she's hitting the ground, and kaboom!
Oh my gosh.
She blows sky high on that whole deal. Of that.
Replay it. I want to see it again.
You want to see it again?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to light her up. Here's the replay. Here she's coming back down on that, getting ready to hit the ground on a landing. And
on a landing.
Yes, it was up and down. That was a test flight.
Okay.
That was a very short test flight, like, just a few minutes up to kind of check it out. And she almost made it to the ground, but when she hit the ground, as you've seen, she exploded in a ball of fire on that. So that was a very
as long as no one was in there.
Yeah, that was the first test on it. So they were gonna, they're gonna do that. Obviously, and that's what I say when you push the envelope on this stuff. you can.
If given the opportunity to go to Mars, to like see it or live up there, would you take it?
To what? To Mars?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really? Would you go to the moon?
Sure.
You're insane.
Well, I'd like to go to the space station. I think that'd be absolutely awesome to do the space station.
I wonder why they haven't sold tickets to go there
They
yet.
They were talking
Weren't
about.
I thought they were.
Yeah, there's somebody, and it might have been even the Chinese or the Russians. I think it was the Russians were selling
That'd be scary.
flights up there to the.
Really?
Yeah, it might have been to the space station or something. Yeah, they were actually selling, selling rides to the part of that going on.
I want to know anyone else out there if they would join on that. I wouldn't.
Why not?
I'd let you go first. I'll check it out after. That'd be scary. I don't think we've been up there enough. I mean, look at how the hit test went. It didn't end good.
Well, they just had the new manned space, ones flying up. So, I mean, the space shuttle thing was dicey. I will admit that. Practically all of them crashed coming in.
The what?
The old space shuttle.
Oh.
Where we did that. I mean, a lot of lives got lost on that one going back and forth. There was 2 crashes at least of where, the astronauts didn't make it. Well, the first one didn't make it up, and then the other one crashed on land. There was 4 of them, at least 2, maybe 3 of them crashed that before. I think it was either the second or third one they eliminated the whole space shuttle stuff going on.
Now I'm sad.
Oh, don't be sad.
All right.
It's perfectly as a deal. And I wanted to get to this one because it has a little bit of, and I don't know where the Di-Fi one went. It's supposed to be number 5 of that. Maybe sometime. Oh, yeah, there she is. Dianne Feinstein. She was mayor of San Francisco, supervisor back in the old Harvey Milk shooting days and everything of that. I think she's about 87, 88. She just ran and everybody thought she was going to resign because she was showing signs of this, or it looked like. That in 2018. I mean, she's been a long-time senator, I think, since 90 or 92. She got elected to the Senate. But prominent liberals call for Dianne Feinstein's resignation after New York story. In the wake of the release of the New Yorker article on California, Dianne Feinstein's reported conjunctive decline, a number of prominent liberal and leftist commentators are calling for the senior senator's resignation. The article, written by Jane Mayer, cites several unnamed sources close to the Feinstein that the Senate say her short-term memory has grown poor and often forgets where she's been briefed on a topic that the staff has been, seems herself. I mean, they finally asked her to resign from the Judiciary Committee because she couldn't remember anything. And she couldn't even remember that she said she agreed to resign.
Shut up.
And she's still on there. And I want to play this.
Good for her, though.
I just want to play this quick because everybody was expecting her not to run because they were seeing signs of this.
Right.
And, she'd been in there a long time. It was like 86 or something when she ran again. And everybody said, because conventional wisdom was she's going to resign, ride off into the sunset, enjoy the rest of her life, and da-da-da-da. Well, she reruns again. Now, 2 years into it, she's probably going to have to resign. Gavin Newsom's probably going to be, if Biden gets in, he's going to be appointing 2 senators, one for Camel Toe Harris, if she gets to be vice president, and Feinstein, which is going to do that. But this is a danger, and they set up the deck chairs of this thing. Here's Joe Biden. Not the deal, and the Joe Biden clips are like ridiculous. But Javier Becerra, well, we're getting rid of him out of California as Attorney General. Not that Newsome or whatever will replace him with anybody any better. But Joe Biden named him as Health and Human Services Secretary. Here's Joe Biden just the other day going on this. Here we go.
I'm grateful to the members of my COVID team that I'd like to introduce to you now, who will lead the way. I'm really proud of this group. For Secretary of Health and Education Service, I nominated Javier Baccaria. Javier Becerra, excuse me.
He didn't do it once.
The Attorney General of California, leading the second largest.
He did it twice on that. He blew his name both. I mean, I could say, okay, everybody can skip it once on that. He skipped it. And I mean, the Joe Biden gaffes, as we called him. Joe Biden, we've had Dr. Kelly Victory on, and many others have said he's showing most all of the same signs of conjugative, mental out of it. They're just, the brain's just stopping working
Right.
of doing that. And he's going to be president of the United States?
Scary.
Yes. That guy's going to have his finger on the nuclear button. Dianne Feinstein should...
Is there really a nuclear button?
Yes,
though?
they do.
Really?
They have a guy that follows the president everywhere with the actual... It's probably like a computer. It's in a suitcase. It's probably in a computer setup. Da-da-da-da-da. Yes, there's somebody with the president or...
Shut up. Really?
and vice president 24/7, 365. If something's going down, it doesn't matter if it's 2:30 in the morning. It doesn't matter if him and Melania are blanking in the White House or anything. He's beating on the doors.
With the glory hole.
Yeah, they're doing the glory hole thing or whatever. He's saying, hey, you got to stop. We got a major, somebody's launched a nuclear weapon or something. No,
That's scary.
There's somebody with the Secret Service or military. I think it's military and Secret Service that's with him, that is within close proximity of the president. I mean, every minute, and I think vice president too, every minute of the day.
How annoying would that be?
Well, they're standing outside in the White House. They're in the residence. They're standing.
Do they stand outside their bedroom door all day
I don't know if it's right there, but
I want their itinerary, please.
They're within distance of maybe in 2 rooms over or whatever. But yeah, they're in the White House residence in that area with them in case something is. I mean, they're there in like 20 seconds. I mean, they're boom. Hey, we got something going on. But speaking of this. Another thing on this. You're going to hear a new term.
Wait.
A lot of you probably were wondering what the glory hole was we were talking about last
There
night.
was an odd amount of people that were wondering what a glory hole was.
But now you're going to hear the new term, Fang Bang. Eric Swalwell is a representative out here, got elected about 2010. Here's in the New York Post, flip me number 4, please. Eric Swalwell, a Chinese honey trap and FBI double standards. Eric Swalwell cut off contact with a young woman allegedly spying in China as soon as the FBI gave him a defense briefing, alerting him to the situation. Why didn't the FBI team give Team Trump the same option instead of spying on it? Fang Fang, a.k.a. Christine Fang, got close to several politicians, especially in the Bay Area, from 2011 to 2015, only to abruptly leave the country as the FBI was closing in. U.S. officials believe China Ministry of the State Security is a main civilian spy agency sent her to collect intelligence and gain influence with up-and-coming politicians. So, Eric Swalwell is the most prominent. A couple of mayors, one being 87, were caught on tapes having sex with Fang Bang. Swalwell's trying to dance all around it or hide behind national security.
How old is she?
She's about 30 right now, or was 30 about at the time.
And she was getting after an 87-year-old?
Yes.
It still works at that age?
Because she's working for the Chinese government. She's collecting intelligence secrets, selling out our trade, stealing our intellectual property, and gaining everything else. You're going to know why this is coming up, because we're going to do the tapes of Tucker Carlson.
I was like, wait, what tapes are we rolling?
Well, no, supposedly there's supposed to be either audio or video of her having sex or with the mayors on there. That's why she abruptly leaves in 2015. This is going to be key when we run the Tucker Carlson interview on Dai Dong Chang, which, as we're doing on this is Tucker Carlson on that. On the deal. Here we're going to run the first minute of the clip or so.
We want to start tonight with evidence, with a remarkable video. This video was recorded a little over a week ago, on November 28th. The man you're about to see speak is a professor from Beijing called Dong Cheng. The video comes from an appearance that he made on a Chinese television show about Wall Street and international trade. Didong Sheng works at Renmin University in Beijing. He is also, like so many in academia in China, a servant of his country's government. This video was deleted from Chinese social media soon after being uploaded, and there's a reason for that, as you'll see.
So the Trump administration is in a trade war with us, I'm reading. Why can't we fix the Trump administration? Why, between 1992 and 2016, did China and the U.S. were able to use to settle all kinds of issues, no matter what? The bombing of the embassy or the crashing of the plane. Things were absolved in no time, a couple of that. We fixed everything in 2 months. What is the reason? I'm going to throw out something that's maybe a little bit explosive here. It's just because we have people at the top. At the top of America's inner core and inner circle of power and influence, we have old friends.
There's a lot of garbage floating around the internet right now.
There you go. It's part of the deal. We've been saying this on the show. They've been stealing our intellectual property, fencing people into our finest research and development institutions, stealing stuff from companies, taking our products, our inventions, taking them to China and selling them at pennies of the dollar because they didn't invest anything in R&D or develop the product. They went in and stole them for that. They've been working with our government officials and big business and big tech to screw us over from 92. Who came in 92 as the president? William Jefferson Clinton. Then you had George W. Bush. Then you had Barack Obama. And that's where they said it stopped in 2016 when Trump got in there. Because what did he say? He said China's ripping us off, killing us. Our government got us into stupid trade deals. And he started unhinging it. Wall Street got upset. They saw their world. Big tech is in Twitter. The Chinese government is watching their whole empire starting to crumble because Trump is actually trying to fix the crap that a lot of these politicians have done going across the board. And when you do this, it's absolutely incredulous. We have done this. They have shown it. We're the ones responsible for this kind of stuff going on. We have allowed it, and we're about to allow it again if Joe Biden gets in. Here we go. We have been utilizing the core power of the United States. As I said before, since the 70s, Wall Street had a very strong influence on the domestic and foreign affairs of the United States, so we had a channel to rely on. But the problem is that after 2008, the status of Wall Street declined, and more importantly, after 2016, Wall Street can't fix Trump. Why? It's very awkward. Trump had a previous soft default, so there was a conflict between them. But it won't go into the details. They may not have enough time. So during the U.S.-China trade war, Wall Street tried to help, and you know that my friends on the U.S. side told me that they tried to help, but they couldn't do much.
Since the 19th...
There you go. Since the 70s, and they're putting it together. The big businesses. Now it's the tech businesses, the Facebooks and the Googles and the Twitters that are screwing us around. China has had them in their back pocket. Wall Street has been working with that. That's why they didn't like Donald Trump. Because he is the one who was trying and has been going to take care of this. He's been working and fixing these trade deals. He's another Middle East peace deal on that nobody else has been able to do. Now he's got 4. Getting us out of the foreign conflicts and wars that none of these other presidents have been able to do. The military war machine is crumbling, and seeing their stranglehold on the American people getting released under Donald Trump, and they didn't like it. There's so many that were on the take, and the Swalwell, Fang Bang thing is just a slight example. It's a very minor example of what has been going on, probably for decades. We have to stop this. Here's the last part of Dai Dong Chang. Here we go. But now we're seeing Biden was elected by the establishment. The political elite, the traditional elite, they were very close to Wall Street, so you see that, right? Trump has been saying that Biden's son, Hunter, has some sort of global foundation, but who helped Biden's son build the foundations? You got it. There's a lot of deals in these, so then there is so much of the time. So there you've got it. They've had Biden in their back pocket. He's been working at that. Hunter's now under FBI investigation over this. How in the heck can you deny what's going on? There is no question after reading this or seeing this that I can see that there is the evidence, and they are telling you, the Chinese government is telling you, Trump was fixing all these screw-ups and they couldn't handle it. The big businesses, the big tech, the politicians that have been not only fang banging but probably lining their pockets with billions of dollars, of trillions of dollars of yours while they're selling you down the river. And do you want to get sold down the river again? Because if the Biden crime family gets in there, we're in trouble. What do you think?
I agree with you 100%. I think it's scary, but you know what? It's really heartbreaking that all this stuff is coming out and a lot of people are having this evidence sit right there. We're not the ones coming up with this. We're not the ones writing it. We're just the ones showing you what everybody else is seeing. But people still don't believe it, and it's scary. But I think it's just the world is so naive these days that they don't want to believe it. I think it's a scary thing to take in that's really I mean, this is like stuff you see in the movie. You know what I mean? Like, you never really would think it's really what's going on.
There's a lot of truth to some of those movies that come out.
Right.
But do you see when the New York Post, which we ran the article, and they came out with the Hunter Biden story, everybody, the big tech, Twitter and Facebook shut it down, would not repeat it, shut it down, and would wipe it off when it came out. They wouldn't report it. 10% of the voters now that voted for Joe Biden said if they would have knew about just what the allegations of Hunter, they would have changed their vote. On top of that, this is how they're controlling you. The evidence is clear and compelling of what's going on. I don't know how you can deny it at this point. How is it deniable that this stuff is going on? And the one guy as president that was trying to fix this, well, let's just say half the country is pissed off about it. Because maybe he just didn't say nice and pretty please and sugar on top. Wake up. Sometimes the truth, you got to hear the truth straight out in order to get it. Sometimes, look at
Why do you think that people are having such a trust issue with the media? Do you think it's
because
not believing what's coming out?
They're lying to you all the time. Look at the class action suit against Facebook. 48 attorney generals and the Federal Trade Commission against Facebook for selling your information without either compensating you or your permission, or deceptively trying to get your permission to do that while they make billions and trillions of dollars off of you on something that appears as allegedly as crooked as all hell. I mean, finally, I was calling that. We had Tom Del Beccaro in and went over that with that. I said, can we sue them on a class action suit? He said, well, yeah, maybe, probably, but it'd be very difficult, yada, yada, yada. I mean, I was calling for this back in when the story broke that they were selling our information and we didn't know about it. I said, if there was ever a case for the Sherman Antitrust Act in the 21st century, this is it. They need to be busted up. The dominant media needs to be, you should not be listening to the lies and the deception that's going on in the dominant media. Do you want Facebook and Google and the New York Times to determine how you're getting the flow of information? If they don't want you to hear the Hunter Biden story, they just wipe it off. And it's like it doesn't exist. Is that the world you want to live in?
Not me. Chad Bianco also posted too the other day how his I think his post got removed on Facebook.
Yes.
They didn't like what he had to say. So they removed the sheriff's post.
Yeah, the sheriff of Riverside County. Which tell me what is it? What is goes against your community standards? That's a bunch of that's a BS excuse for what's going on here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just absolutely incredulous on that of what's going on. Of every day, it seems like we get this whole onslaught of ridiculous I mean, just that. Want to get to this before we're going to come up on the at the next half hour. We're going to have Cliff Cummings. We're going to talk about Recall Gavin 2020. We're going to have Speedway Rider Aaron Fox on, who will be racing Saturday night at Paris Raceway at the National Speedway Championships for the year, where two guys will be qualified next year, hopefully, if all this stuff doesn't go, to run back in Europe and represent the United States on that biggest speedway bike race of the year coming up Saturday at Paris. We'll cover that. But another breaking news, and I want to get to that. The FDA has recommended authorization for the Pfizer coronavirus vaccine coming up here, so it looks like that's on a deal. Are you going to get the shot?
No.
Thank you.
I answered that way too quick. No. I can't. But then I'm not going to be able to have like a life at all.
And that's going to be, again, we're going to have
But I don't even get the flu shot.
Yeah, and in my opinion, this is where the resistance needs to come against us, because we cannot allow them to use this stuff now or in the future to control us. You know, it's controlled by decree or by proxy. You know, they're not gonna tell you can't have the vaccine. Like you said, they're just gonna say you can't go anywhere.
I know.
You know,
am I gonna be able to go grocery shopping?
No, they're gonna say you can't go in the grocery store. Your kids can't go to school. You can't go to the concert. You can't go in a restaurant or anything in a federal building. Biden said if you don't get the shot, you ain't getting in a federal building at all. Zero. That's what we're coming down to. I mean, this is a line in the sand time.
Why do they do that with the COVID shot, but not the flu shot?
Because
pneumonia shot or vaccines. Vaccines, it's an option.
In my opinion,
it's a choice.
They have looked at this whole COVID thing and said, man, look at the majority of the people that are just rolling like sheep to the slaughter. So they're going to roll it out. They're going to roll this out, and they're going to say, well, see how far we can push this button, because, man, they rolled over on this one really nice.
Horrible.
It is.
Are you going to get it?
No.
I wonder how many out there will get it. I wonder how many are against it, though. I think more people are for it than against it.
I think
days.
it was
because
like
I think
60%.
If they go and get it, it's going to end all this.
Wait till they see the side effects that have been reported. And as Dr. Kelly said, it's got compounds in it that many people are allergic to. And
Today I saw an article where it was, even if you get the shot, it still doesn't protect you. They're still running tests to see if it helps you.
Again,
like, it makes no sense.
Exact, because it doesn't. It's blatantly obvious of what's going on here. This whole thing is about power and control. Like the whole Hunter Biden, the Chinese guys and this is like that. This Ding Jong Tang or whatever his name is. It's called hiding in plain sight. They use these kind of guys so they tell you what's going on. But it's not the Deng Xiaoping, the leader of China, saying this, but he's lowing out so they can say, well, this stuff was out there. They put it in these obscure places like this so they can, and they telegraph what they're doing, but most people don't hear about it until after the fact or it's too late. But I think this time is that, and I think that's the flip side of the tech age, is things could disseminate so quickly. Look at how Trump worked Twitter and Facebook and stuff in the social media in 2016. Basically elected him president, got his message out on that, and got his troops or his supporters or people with like-minded, philosophies. He got it out around that around the dominant media, using big
Hi
tech,
guys, 1 minute, 1 minute.
but around that stuff to go out on that, and that's how we wound up, or that's how we wound up with Trump. Now in 2020, they put the big kibosh on that. Again, as you've seen how they're manipulating, they got caught. I said in 2016 they got caught with their pants down, but I said they're not going to let that happen in 2020. That's why I predicted about watch the certain areas where there's
30 seconds. 30 seconds. Hi, Stephanie.
Thing.
Hi, Sean. There it is. I said hi to you when we didn't hear me.
And then on top of all this stuff, I mean, it's, if you follow it and you read it, you can see what's going on. And I hope more people are going to pay attention in this.
Okay, here we go. 10 seconds. SupplyKing.com.
OEM Supply King. We got it!
IE Newswire Daily is on the air.
The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed are not necessarily the
There's that funky slide guitar music that comes on every Monday through Friday at 5:30 on the Mighty Met. KMAT, I absolutely, it's astounding what's going on in there, and they're joining our vast video audience, which you should check out on IE Newswire, on Twitch, Facebook, and
on YouTube. And make sure you hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss a show, and we're part of your world.
On a Thoughtful Thursday. Yeah, you're a little bit quicker on the draw on that one.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
No, you do a fantastic job of doing all
You're
this.
right.
If that, believe me, you wouldn't see the nice looking studio set and the graphics and everything. It was up to me.
Preach it.
Yes, no, this one's one that puts all that together and does a very fine job of it, engineering and putting all the show. And
thanks.
and
Look at us being nice today.
and throwing some good commentary in there, especially in the first half hour of that.
I know. Are you proud?
Yes.
Except my mic was off for pretty much all of it. One day I will get it right.
Oh man, we're on that. We're gonna have later on in the show. We're gonna have a Speedway rider, Aaron Fox. He'll be competing with I think 22 other riders at Paris Raceway for the National Speedway Championships out there, where two riders will the top two riders out of the whole deal will represent the USA and the Europe against 64 other riders for the World Championships going on. So that's a big race weekend. One of the few you can attend, but you can get it on pay-per-view, and we'll have those links and stuff on there on that. Cliff Cummings will be on here in a couple minutes. We'll talk about the Gavin Newsom recall. We went through the stuff where China telegraphing, telling you how they're stealing our intellectual property, how they're sending basically hookers over here to Fang Bang, our politicians, to get the intellectual property and bury us. Wall Street's working with them, big tech, Hunter Biden's, the Biden crime family, and everybody else is all involved in this. The vaccine, the Pfizer vaccine, has been got preliminary approval from FDA, Federal Drug Administration, so that should start rolling out. Are you going to get the vaccine of that on that? It's been an absolute something other of a... I mean, this has been... Usually in December after this, kind of the regular news kind of winds down, and we have very little stuff to do, or it's kind of everybody's in the Christmas spirit. So, Thanksgiving's over, everybody's planning for Christmas, doing that, coming back and forth. But heck, man, it just seems like every day it's like a whole enchilada of stuff. We played the video of the SpaceX rocket that is eventually going to haul hopefully manned rockets up to Mars, and but it had a unsuccessful landing. It went up on the test, came down, hit the ground, and on the landing exploded in a big ball of flames going on. So it's something other of a deal as we're trying to get Cliff on there. But no, we're and as we talked with him earlier in the week, and one thing that we're going to stress here, and I see the momentum building for this, is a Recall Gavin. I think the site is Recall Gavin 2020. They have till March, I think, to get the signatures for it. We're going back and forth on the deal, and this is, as they say, nut cutting time. I mean, if we're going to save California, if we're going to do that, I think in this era, I mean, this is the time to do it. I'm seeing it. You know, John Cox, the former Republican that ran against Gavin Newsom in 2018, he signed on board. I'm hearing a lot more people, grassroots organizations, businesses, political movers and shakers are saying, man, that have been silent in a lot of this time, saying, man, we got to really crank up the Recall Gavin. We got to get this guy out of here. He can dine at $400 a plate dinners at the French Laundry while you can't go to the restaurant, not for any banning in-house dining, basically almost banning outside dining, only having takeout. This rule, that rule. One thing, though, that I am proud of the Californians, and I get it. The first time back in March when, this COVID thing was all new and they're sounding like the world's coming to an end. Man, when Newsom ordered the stay-at-home orders, I mean, it was like almost California stop. I mean,
it was.
There was no one out there. It was like crickets. Yes. I loved it.
Well, yeah. I mean, but then it got really weird because I'm like, is their life exist anymore? I felt like I was kind of alone.
But this time,
everybody's out.
I haven't noticed a lick of difference.
No, me neither.
In everything. And Mark Garagos, the attorney that sued on behalf of the California Restaurant Association in L.A., and the judge asked the L.A. County officials, show me the data and science that restaurants can't have outside dining, and they had none. So he issued an order that said, that ruled in favor of the California Restaurant Association. Well, there's this whole state thing going on. He said, well, I'm going to lift it for L.A. County, but there's still the whole statewide thing. So Mark Garagos announced today that he is filing suit, which he indicated on when that was. He's filing suit, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but with the California Restaurant Association statewide and against Gavin Newsom against this lockdown and closing of restaurants, especially because there's no scientific data behind it. Along with the Kiley and Gallagher lawsuit, where the great state court, California court justice Sarah Heckman ruled and said, your orders on ordering the elections, your executive orders over COVID were unconstitutional. You don't have that authority to do that. And now you're seeing the side effect of that. Now hopefully you'll see the unraveling of all the draconian control freak don't do as thee, don't do as me, do as as thee, or I think I blew that. But Gavin Newsom could go dine at $400 plate dues.
Do as I say, not as I do.
Yes, that and Sheila Kuehl of LA County can vote for that lockdown, and then 6 hours later is dining at the ritzy restaurant in Santa Monica. The mayor of Austin, Texas was saying, oh, you got to stay home at COVID, while making the Twitter release with his family down in Cancun, Mexico, with families, members that were not in his household and that, and just having a grand old time. We had the ones I think the mayors of San Francisco and San Jose got caught after making these proclamations and stuff and whatever. It's absolutely ridiculous of what's going on this whole thing. I don't know. I just it just makes my head explode on the
don't do that.
On this whole stuff, because every day the sad thing is it just doesn't seem to be getting any better. I mean,
it's really not. I thought it would kind of start picking up as all this stuff came out, and it's just we're going down more. It's weird.
It is. I mean, it's just like this, like this deal with the Chinese professor that was released on that, and telling all what's going on with the Biden stuff all up and down, and we do, Gavin Newsome thumbing our noses at them. We're hearing, now you're hearing the details of what's going on. Dianne Feinstein, who can't remember what you told her 10 minutes ago, is the senator of California, and she's still there. They had to ask her to get off the Judiciary Committee because she's getting in such bad shape. You heard the clips of, and I mean, you've seen the clips of many of them, just the one the other day. He nominates our California Attorney General to the Health and Human Services, and twice he can't even get his name right. And he's just like, he's sitting there looking, barely moving his lips and it's barely talking like this and looking like this and talking as he's talking and saying, he's trying to say Javier Becerra and says Joe Smith or whatever, ridiculous. And he did it twice. Just totally blew his name. Doesn't even know can't even read off the teleprompter, much less know. You just nominated a guy for Secretary of Health and Human Services, and you can't even get his name right. That's sad, really. That we would come and people would support that.
I can see it I mess up all the time when we're on the show, but I'm also not running for president.
But you're not, you still have your faculties together. You're not conjugative, a deal like Dianne Feinstein is. I mean, they're telling prominent Democrats are asking her, please resign. You can't handle this job anymore.
But good for her for working that long. I mean, we got to give that to her.
Well, no.
That's awesome.
When it comes to the point that she can't do the job...
Exactly. No, I'm saying now's the time for her to leave. But
yes.
Good for her for working that long, because most people wouldn't. How old is she?
She's about 87, 88.
That's amazing.
She shouldn't have re-ran in 2018.
She shouldn't have. But that's amazing.
Most people... No.
Most people work until they're like 50, and they're like, oh my God, I can't do it anymore.
But, at that point, no, they don't want to get rid of the power. That's the whole thing. Because
I'm trying to make a positive out of a negative. You're just not letting it happen.
I applaud you for trying, but...
Be a little positive.
It is.
She's 87. That's awesome.
And it's glad she's living that. She should be seeing her grandchildren and having a good time.
She should.
Not worrying about not being senator of the state of California on that and doing that because she was incapable of doing the job. And when she ran in 2018, she ran anyway because they just can't let go of it. And that's what that's what the sad part of this. It's like Joe Biden. Joe Biden should have said, yeah, I got up to vice president. That, I'm just not physically, mentally able to do this. But no, they can't let go of that power. And the greed and everything else that's behind it, of that, they just can't let go. And that is what's really sad, in my view, about this whole thing.
Very.
Coming up.
I still think that's amazing that she worked that until
it is
that age. Because really, most people they would never.
If she would have not ran in 2018 and said sayonara, even though I disagreed with a lot of, I agreed with some things she did. I mean, it wasn't like probably 30-40% of the time she did have some good. She was on the right side as I was thought of many issues, and that was cool. But yeah, if she did 2018, you had a great career. It's time to step aside, let somebody else do that, and they just can't do that.
That's how we cut you off.
That's it. We're going to do a little commercial break here, and then we're going to come back with Aaron Fox, Speedway Rider at Paris Raceway Saturday.
Tonight to Toyota San Bernardino and go check out all the great cars they have to offer. Located at 765 Showcase Drive, North San Bernardino 92408, and go test drive a car today. Or head on over to toyotasanbernardino.com and check out their lineup online. Don't forget to mention Newswire sent ya.
Back off.
Oh, we're back on the man, I love the bumper music, especially the Doobie
Right?
Brothers rocking down the highway. Man, oh man, that was a heck of a man. That was one of the all-time classic great rock and roll songs back on. And as we said, we're gonna switch gears a little bit on that. We are gonna talk about some fun stuff now.
Now you want to be positive.
Yeah, so that on all the stuff coming up and down the line on that. We have a very special guest coming out. He's going to be riding Saturday night out at Paris Raceway on the National Speedway Championships, where the top two riders are going to qualify to represent the USA back in Europe on that. Biggest race of the year. All the stars will be out there on that, but probably none bigger than Aaron Fox, who's a two-time champion across the board, an absolutely fantastic Speedway rider who will be out there and hopefully clean their clocks on Saturday night. Welcome to IE Newswire with Steph and Roy, the aforementioned Aaron Fox.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Man, everybody, 2020 has just been a chaotic year, and nobody's in all racing venues and everything. Nobody's been having being able to ride as many races. By now, you'd have competed in probably 10s, 20, 30, 40, 50 races up to this point and be really primed. And I know that. How's that going to? I just kind of want to get into how that affects you and the other riders coming up, that you just haven't had that much riding this year in 2020, and now you got to run for the big USA championships.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And that's the catch here. This year's been a crapshoot for everyone, and so it's going to be tough. Very minimal time on the bike, and here we are at the end of the year, and we're competing for an American Final Championship. So it's the best of the best guys. I'm sure some guys have their own facilities to be able to privately practice and that. Others don't. But for the most part, without any races, it's hard to gauge. So it's anyone's ball game, and it's going to be exciting. The venue's prepared a nice track. The last couple of meetings that they've had there, they've been running monthly. So it's going to be good. I think it's going to be close. It's hard to say. Who's going to place that top three.
Have you been able to ride anywhere or race anywhere this year besides Paris Raceway?
Yeah, I back in I think June or maybe July, I took a trip up and raced in Colorado and Denver. They got a little speedway local event that they run twice a month or once a month throughout the year, and I went up and rode with those guys, and then also took a trek over to Tennessee and did an event there. So, and then a couple practices here and there. So, it's not the worst, but definitely not ideal.
So tell us about the Colorado and Tennessee trip. How was the competition back there? I mean, sometimes it's good to gauge yourself against where guys are running at other spots of that. What was your impression of how Speedway was in Colorado and Tennessee?
Yeah, so obviously Speedway's not as big in Colorado and Tennessee as it is here in California. People, when they want to be good in the sport here in the United States, they come to California to ride. So going to Denver, it wasn't going to be a total easy breeze, but definitely not as easy as I thought it was going to be. It's a tough track to ride, and having not been there and riding someone else's bike, was tough to figure out at first. I got beat by one of the local riders there, put in a good heat ride and beat me in one of the heats. But at the end, I was able to win the main and had everything figured out by the end of the night. So it took a little bit of time to adjust, but we ended up getting there. And then Tennessee, this one was the first one we actually had a really good lineup. And after going earlier this year, actually, yeah, we did go twice this year. We went in March and then again in in November. But this last event was really good. They had a really good, well-prepared track surface. We had probably 80% of the top guys that we have here in the States, and it was a good event. Didn't make the main, was one spot out of transferring, but, it was more of an exhibition-type show, and it was fun to be in Tennessee and see Nashville.
So let's break it down to see what you think that's going to help you at Paris. racing somebody else's bike on foreign territory,
That's gotta be hard.
Yeah, that can potentially sharpen up your game and make you better coming out of that, because you've had that experiences at running at different tracks and that, and against different competitions and different conditions. So if, let's say something, like the track throws you a curveball out there, you may be more acclimated to adjust to it than some of the other riders.
Yeah, that's possible too. With Denver being the way it is, it's primarily a flat track surface, so it's very, very firm, hard-packed blue groove. And so that I haven't ridden before, and it was kind of hard to figure out. And it took a lot out. It took a lot of energy to get around that track, and after 5 rides, I was pretty worked. So, in that sense, coming back to Paris. The thing with Paris is it's sometimes kind of unpredictable, because there's times when the track holds up great, and then there's other times when it's kind of dried out and it kind of falls apart, and it becomes very difficult and rather dangerous to ride. So I'm confident those guys got it together especially after the last meeting they had last month. It was a phenomenal track surface. So if it's anything like that coming for this Saturday, it's on. There's 16 riders that are just going to be going for it.
Yeah, it might be High, Wide, and Handsome running around there. That there's nothing better than, and especially at Paris. I mean, I love that track because it's probably one of the biggest ones we run out here, or you guys run out here in California. And man, it's nothing to see 2 and 3 groove racing going on across there, and then especially when you guys can crank up some speed up there, and do that. I just think the racing is totally awesome at Paris Raceway.
It is.
Yeah, and it's got definitely some great potential, and it's actually been getting better and better as time goes on. Especially now that I've kind of talked to the track maintenance guy there and trying to help him, get it more geared for Speedway, and I'm trying to get it to where the inside is really firm, kind of slickens off, and a nice cushion builds out around the outside. And when that happens, we've seen some good meetings, a lot of good passing, and there's 3 or 4 guys that like to hang it out, wide by the wall now, and that can put on a good show. So as I was saying, if it's anything like it was last month, there's going to be lots of passing, there's going to be multiple race lines, and there's going to be some bar banging going on for sure.
So if there's a cushion running up on the outside, are you going to be one of those guys that's going to go up there and gas it and go?
Well, if that's where it's at, you're going to have to. So if you want to do good, you have to get the start, and you have to stay up high and stay in the dirt. That's the only way you're going to get around the quickest. There was the last event, they had a little bit of a cushion starting to build in the outside, and for the last year or so, another rider that's been really good is Max Rummel, and he's been riding out high and wide, and he's been very fast. And a couple other guys are going to be doing the same thing. And if you want to win, and there's any dirt on the outside, that's where you're going to need to ride. Yeah,
you mentioned Max. He has some little something figured out about the high groove at that track, because man, he can motor around that high side like nobody else.
Yeah, no, and you're exactly right. He's been doing very well at that lately. He's also got a very good equipment under him. He's got a fantastic engine tuner that's from abroad. He's got multiple engines to select from, so he's got a lot of power, and he can get up in that cushion and go around guys like they're standing still.
Yeah, and I mean, just for you, what type of track do you prefer? Do you prefer the fast ones with a cushion like that, or do you like it more a little on the dry side, slick side? Which kind of is your forte in running that?
My ideal track is definitely got to be one that's wide, so we have a lot of room to race each other. And I like it really slick and firm on the inside with a nice big heavy cushion outside. And that way you can kind of do, like I said, there's multiple race lines. There's some passing opportunities. I'm a big sprint car 410 fan, outlaw fan, and I noticed when those tracks slick off and there's a big cushion out wide, you can throw some slide jobs. And, Speedway, if we can have that where it's super firm and slick on the bottom and a high cushion up top, we can kind of get that same race action going on. So Doesn't really matter to me. I'm not real particular. I've generally ran better around the bottom, but that's because our tracks are smaller around here, and that's our quickest way around typically. But if there's dirt and that's where I got to be, that's where I'm going.
I'm glad you mentioned the 410 sprint cars because I'm looking at your bio picture and I see the Ascot logo on there, and that was me back in the day running those beasts back there in that time frame on that. So, man, it's nothing like that. I mean, there's and a lot of that. I mean, there's a lot of respect between the racers, between venues of this stuff of that. We all respect. I mean, I respect the way you guys ride them speedway bikes. I'm thinking, I'd kill myself doing that.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot different in the sense that we don't have any brakes, so you got to do a little bit more thinking and kind of anticipate what the others are going to do. Most of the top guys have a lot of trust for each other. We know how each other rides. And like you were saying, we all have a pretty good relationship generally, and the camaraderie in the pits is always good. So we race each other hard but fair, and we try to put on the best show possible.
You got it.
That's
good
awesome.
luck.
Have fun, Aaron.
Yeah, good luck out there Saturday night. We might mosey
You
on.
got this.
Yeah, we might mosey out there and check you out on that stuff. But everybody else, you can watch it on pay-per-view on that. Doing it, and good luck Saturday night, and hope you win it all, and we can congratulate you in victory lane. Good luck.
I appreciate that, guys. Thanks for having me tonight.
You're welcome. Take care.
There was Aaron Fox, Speedway Rider. Will be riding at Paris Raceway Saturday night at the big U.S. World Finals to see the top two riders are going to represent the United States over in Europe.
Did he say no brakes?
There are no brakes on those
That's
things.
insane.
Yes. Of that. Well, of that going on. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, find out. So, well, you're getting better at pushing the buttons there. Just to X that out. So, no, it should be a fun night on that. I mean, you don't have many, there's and especially at this time of year, there's very few opportunities to catch some racing. So that's one event that's going on in December, going across the board on that, which we hope will be a fun Saturday night to check it out, have some fun on that going on. And we got some other stuff planned going on stuff of that. So
we do?
Maybe coming up on that. So stay tuned to the show. We'll be
we have huge plans.
Yeah.
And tune in tomorrow. We have AJ Smith on.
Yes, AJ.
And I have a surprise for Roy. I forgot to plug that.
Wow.
And
but you'll have to tune in.
going.
Yeah, we're
Dang
going.
it.